I'm going to press record just so we all know that's being recorded. And what I wanted us to do is just literally go around the room and say who we are, and then what questions you have. So, and then we won't get into the answer portion yet. We're going to save that till after we get through everybody's questions. So I'm Jessica Spade. I work with UW Extension in Crawford County. So I'm your local community development educator. Bob Moses, will you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Bob Moses. I'm with the Prairie Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm just putting it out there. If anyone has any questions after this video conference is over, send them to me, and I'll create a list, and then I can follow up with everyone. We have regular meetings at 1 o'clock and 3:30 every day, and I'll try to get those answers to everybody as soon as possible.
Thanks, Bob. That's excellent. So we have another chamber person, Ashley Kishman. Do you want to say hi?
Hi, Ashley Kishman, McGregor Marquette Chamber of Commerce. So just more looking for info here.
Excellent. And then Lori Beckham, I'm going to have you introduce yourself next.
Lori Beckham and Gary Koch, both from CDA, and just looking for the information.
Excellent. Wonderful. So then I also have Christy Smith from the Small Business Development Center. Could you just say hi real quick, Christy?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I work with the Wisconsin Small Business Development Center. I'm also a small business owner myself, so I see all the issues from both sides at this point. Glad to answer any questions that I can.
Excellent. And then we also have Ethan Holmes. Can you say hi real quick?
Well, hi, I'm Ethan Holmes. I handle economic policy for Congressman Kind out in DC.
Excellent. And yeah, Ethan can answer some of those questions that we need to, well, why is it this way? So thank you, Ethan, for being here. We also have several people from banks here today, and you guys might have some questions as well. Let's see, Sherry Bauer, can you say hi and what bank you're from?
This is Sherry. I'm from People State Bank. I'm just trying to get information to educate our customers.
Excellent. Do you have any questions today, Sherry, that you wanted to make sure to get answered?
No. Thank you, though.
Okay, excellent. And then Dwayne Rogers, are you able to say hi?
Yes, I'm Dwayne Rogers, also with People State Bank. So hi, everyone.
Do you have any questions today, Dwayne, or?
Not, I guess, off the top of my head, but maybe in the discussion as we move along here, maybe some will pop up.
Excellent. Okay, thanks. And then Bob Halberd, do you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Bob Hauber. I'm with Central State Bank. And I guess the questions I've got, primarily deal with independent contractors and sole proprietors. I know that application period starts tomorrow, and I'm still trying to figure out how you handle that. So.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll make sure to get into that. Let's see, Jamie Stram, do you want to say hi? Jamie, if you are talking, I can't hear you yet. Oh, might have gone away, actually. Let's see. Bob Standorf, you want to say hi?
Hi, Bob Standorf here. I'm involved in the city's revolving loan committee and also the city's redevelopment, and just like to hear a little more about what the program is all about.
Okay. Do you have any specific questions, or you just kind of want to get a little bit of an overview?
No questions at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's see. Who have I not? There's a couple people on the phone. Looks like a 306-6222.
Janet Iverson, Hair Magic.
Hi, Janet. What questions do you have for us today that we can get to here in just a second?
Well, I talked to Michael Higgins at People State Bank, and from what he told me, I'm not eligible for this because I only have one employee and I pay myself on a draw. So he told me I was basically not eligible because she's now filing for unemployment. So I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go with this.
Okay, great question. So we'll get to that in just a second. Thank you. Let's see, Chad Mara, do you want to say hi?
Hi, I am the owner of Sup's Gym, and I guess I have a similar question as what her situation would be. I mean, I only take draws. I don't have employees. I have independent contractors. And I guess I was curious where I stand on the rent and utility payments.
All right, excellent. So did I forget anybody in our introductions? Oh, looks like somebody else is trying to come in. Looks like someone just joined us on the phone. Do you want to say hi and who you are? The new person that just joined us on the phone, it's the, what is it? Oh, they hopped back out. All right, so we have a few questions so far. So let's start with, so Chad and Janet have a similar question about who, like how are they eligible and what are they eligible for? Is there anybody here that feels prepared to kind of jump into this question or jump into an answer?
This is Christy Smith with the Wisconsin Small Business Development Center. I think the answer to your question is not yet, is really the caveat on that. The advice we have is that individuals who do not have employees and or just pay themselves through draws are not eligible to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program until this Friday, April 10th. What we are not clear on at the moment is whether or not the application form will look different on Friday for the self-employed people. So that's all the information I have on that right now. But I wouldn't say you're not eligible. You just aren't eligible to apply until Friday, and we're not quite sure what the application is going to look like for you at this time.
Excellent.
And where do you find that application?
That's the big question. It's not available yet.
Okay.
So the current application is available from participating banks. I can also email you a copy of the current application. I'll put a little asterisk for you though. As a small business owner myself and somebody who is helping with the current application kind of makes no sense in terms of reporting requirements for those who are self-employed or aren't getting paid through regular payroll deductions. So that's why I'm slightly hoping we'll see something different for you to use to apply on Friday, but I have no further information at this time.
Thank you.
Ethan, what about from your office? Do you have any idea what that application might look like or any other information?
They're going to have to change the application. I would say, to her point earlier, it does not work as written. So I would be highly surprised. And of course, we would do outreach if it didn't change. But my guess is we receive guidance in the application sometime today. If their track record follows, it will be late tonight. And then that, I know, will leave the lenders in a hard position to digest that fastly. But it's just seems to have been the track record of how these things have been put out. But I would imagine that we'll have a lot more guidance by tomorrow, hopefully, knock on wood, as for contractors, sole proprietors, and people that withdraw that take money out on a draw.
Excellent. Anybody else have anything to add to that one or any other concerns, I guess, about tomorrow's application that's coming out? So that was kind of Robert Halber's or Bob Halbert's question as well, is how are they going to do the PPP for independent contractors and self-employed? And the answer seems to be that we don't really know yet because the application hasn't come out, and we're hoping that'll come out today or hopefully today.
Do we have any idea? Do we have any ideas on what they're going to use for income for sole proprietorships? Are they going to use their net income from their Schedule C as their income, and then you take that times or divide that by 12 and multiply times 2.5, and that's the maximum they can qualify for? Is that what anybody's thinking, or just no idea whatsoever?
I would say they're going to try to duplicate the net expenses or the the pattern that you had last year around this time, with some caveats. I do not know. I think that's the policy goal. I do not know the best way to replicate that, because obviously there could be a lot of caveats in how that could be made.
Mhm.
So with that, then,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
so with that, then will we be able to cover our rent and our utilities?
Yes, I would have all of that paperwork ready, rent, utilities, kind of extraneous here. Let me have other interest payments as well on the PPP. But just to cover for you, like for the forgiveness, you will still get a below market rate at a 1% loan over 2 years, and you can defer payment for 6 months. But at the end for the forgiveness, anything over, like, you can only be forgiven for 25% of your total forgiven amount can only be non-payroll items. So that's just for everyone.
Okay.
And is that the way it is with the sole proprietors? I guess I thought I had heard someplace along the line here that sole proprietors and independent contractors weren't eligible for the interest on their mortgage, their rent, and utilities.
Were or weren't?
We're not.
As written, it would. There's nothing that says it would not. Obviously, we're going to have more extensive guidance to show if that's the case or not. But there has been very little guidance given on sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed.
Well, they got plenty of time. It doesn't start till tomorrow.
I know, it's just. I would also like to preface, I do have a stat just to give everyone an idea. That's for you. So last year, the SBA did 6,099 loans to a total of 4.9 billion. They're doing that in about a day right now. So the system is going to be jammed and it's going to be frustrating, but they're doing about their yearly volume per day, if not more. It's not an agency that is equipped at the moment to handle this kind of volume, but it does seem to be getting marginally better every day, and I would imagine that it'll get better as time goes on, because we did appropriate $650 million for them to add additional staff and upgrade computers. So as this goes on, it will get better, but just wanted to give you that stat just to show you the scale of uptick in a week they've had to do.
Ethan, can you tell us approximately once these loans are actually filed, what's the turnaround time before these businesses can see some financial relief?
So they have to be funded within 10 days of approval.
So now my employee has been, or is going to be getting unemployment. She hasn't received it yet, but it's been approved. So I do not include her in this, or I do include her in this, because otherwise she would be getting paid twice.
So you will have to have a talk with her, and she can either, once you secure the loan, the month after, and I can get back to you on the specifics, but you would basically have to rehire her. If she has, technically, you would have to prove rehiring, and then she would have to forgo unemployment insurance. But again, I think it's a lot more cut and dry with like a C Corp or other kind of more straightforward businesses. And this is something that the guidance will have to tell us what can she come back halfway through and just has 1 month where she gets both, and you can get the relief you need, or what does this look like?
Okay.
That is yet to be determined, but I'd be happy to follow up when I do know.
Excuse me, this is Rita Trouch and Adam Trouch from Specialties calling, and we've been trying to get into the Zoom, but it keeps asking for a password. Do you have one?
You're here now, so if you're doing it online, the password is just all lowercase Crawford.
Okay.
But on the phone, I'm guessing it didn't ask you for a password. So sorry.
Well, we could skip it.
Yeah, Zoom just upped their security measures yesterday, so I had to throw in
Yeah.
the password and everything, so I apologize. But we can hear you now. Do you
Okay.
guys, do you have any questions you want to ask now, or do you want to try to mess with your computer some more?
Go ahead and get started, and we'll keep going. And
Okay, thanks.
okay, it's letting me connect now. So
Oh, yay, wonderful.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Don't we love technology? What other questions do we have? This is a good chat. Is this conversation helping you answer kind of the questions you came with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good, good, good.
Hey, Tim, I know you bounced on a little late. You want to introduce yourself and just kind of let everybody know?
Yeah, I'm Tim Hunt. I'm the district representative for the southern part of the congressional district here for Congressman Kind. Ethan's in our DC office. He's our legislative people, so he's got a lot more detail on these programs, and his knowledge is very, very useful. It's been great having him be able to answer some of these questions. So, but I'm getting lots of calls from individuals, businesses about unemployment and all these assistance programs, and people are really struggling through this stuff. So we're trying to answer as many questions as we can. I don't know, I sent out an invite. Congressman Kind did a town hall for our part of the district last night. I don't know if anybody's able to get on that. We are doing another event this afternoon. Congressman Kind will be on with Missy Hughes from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for another telephone meeting. And Bob, did you get that email? I sent that out last night, I think. But.
Yeah, I did, Tim.
Okay, and hopefully Bob can spread that around to as many of his contacts as possible. They're asking you to RSVP for that event too, but that's another thing that I think can answer some of these questions for folks with Missy Hughes from WEDC. So, and I appreciate, and like Ethan said, this is just a huge volume. You're trying to run $2.2 trillion of funds through a small fire hose. That it's just going to take time to get this money out and on the ground. But I am hearing from small business people that they're really getting into a tight spot, and they want to know when this stuff's going to hit the ground. So we'll do everything we can to help people through this process.
I'm sorry, we joined a little bit late. How do we access the grants? That's the problem we're having, is we don't know where to go to access anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, are you trying for the emergency funds, the disaster loan, or not? Maybe you just need a direction. What I'll do is I'll put my contact info in the chat here.
Okay.
And you can email me directly, and I can send you some basic information and some links. If you're trying for the disaster loan, where to go for that, you go directly to SBA for that. If you're trying for the payroll protection, that's a little different process, but I'll just put my email up and you can email me directly, and I can send you the literature and the links that I have.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a similar question that I was going to ask. So you mentioned that Missy Hughes from the WEDC, so that's the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, is going to be on with Ron Kind this afternoon. WEDC doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about today with the SBA Paycheck Protection Program, correct?
Not directly.
Okay.
But they are already helping small businesses too, so
yeah,
they're helping to manage these.
Mm-hmm. And so far, you mentioned, so through the SBA, the two things that are available are Paycheck Protection Program and disaster loans. Is there something else in there that small businesses should be aware of?
Well, the other layers for small business people, depending on their situation, but they did expand the unemployment definition, so a lot of those small business owners can get unemployment. And the payroll protection. I don't know, Ethan, can you talk about that a little bit? Now, Ron was talking last night in the town hall that like farmers, for instance, can use the payroll protection program to pay for their wages.
Yes, Ron and Senator Baldwin fought and got clarification that farmers are able to use the PPP program. So we were very happy about that. But so there's kind of a 3-tier basis. You can get the standard EIDL, so the economic injury loan through the SBA. You can get a grant on top of that. There is some conjecture because of oversubscription how much that is. Some states are still doing the $10,000 within 3 days. That comes along with applying for the larger loan. That can be done directly on the SBA website too, or the Paycheck protection, which is more for keeping people on your payroll and supplementing that cost with 100% refundable loan. And those can be done through a wide array of credit unions and banks.
That's kind of the same thing.
And additionally, I'll leave my contact info in the chat. There are several tax measures that also passed in here. So if you are, I don't know if it falls into here, but if there are companies that do have larger cash reserves that can weather this, there are other tax things that can be done at the end of the year that could provide relief, such as like refundable employee retention tax credits, or we increase net operating business interest you can offset that on your business income at the end of the year. So there are a lot of other things that can be done in the tax code for this year that can't. And if you individually want to reach out, I'd be happy to go over that with everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That's what a lot of people have been asking me that, and I don't know enough about it to help them navigate. So, any information there is super helpful. What other questions do we have while we have kind of the experts at the table here?
I have a question. Is anybody running into any trouble with, they have to hire back these employees, and the employees are actually, sounds to me like making more money on unemployment than they are working? I guess, is there some kind of rule that they have to come back to continue to get unemployment, or?
Yes. So this is Christy Smith with the Small Business Development Center. My understanding is that if they're on unemployment now and the employer offers them work because they've gotten money through Paycheck Protection Program or another source, and the employee declines the offer of work, they no longer qualify for unemployment because they've turned down work that's been made available to them.
Yeah.
Now, the Department of Workforce Development would probably have to, weigh in on that. I'm not an expert from their perspective, but that's my understanding at this time. If somebody's offered work and turns it down, they no longer qualify for unemployment.
Yeah, there's just been and again, Ben in our office is the UI expert, but there was an expansion of kind of who can apply for it, but the same kind of foundations are still there, where you have to be unemployed without the possibility of working, and that has to be confirmed to still receive it. So if your business you were with is back up and operational because of these loans, you would then not be able to then continue with unemployment insurance. We're still looking on clarification if, because these loans are taking a little bit, if your employees got it halfway in, and then kind of what happens in that transition period, as I spoke of before, but no, the foundations of they have to have been relieved of their job due to economic reasons, and then if that job reappears, they would then have to go back.
I think whenever that might become down in a written form, that would be great for us to disseminate to the businesses that keep asking us that particular question. So if somebody could point us to where that is once somebody puts that in writing, that would be great.
Yep, can do.
But didn't they do something with unemployment that they gave them an extra $500 a week on top of what they were normally going to get in unemployment because of the crisis?
Yeah, they did do that, but you would still have to be either let go or furloughed without the possibility of getting a job. And they did that. The economic reason behind it is because if you have, 10 million people and lose their job in a weekend and they feel financially constrained, it does terrible things to the economy. So that's the extra $600. And these are not, it's just out of the normal UI pattern. And that $600 is just till the middle of June. But again, to repeat, you do have to be fired without the possibility of working.
So when do I have to hire the people back? Let's say that I filed the application today for the SBA loan. Or the PPP loan? When do I have to have the people hired back again? Do I have to hire them back immediately? Do I have to have them hired back by June 30th, or what is the?
So it's a complicated question, but if you want to qualify for loan forgiveness, you will have to show proof when you apply for forgiveness at the end of the 8-week period that you did hire and retain the staff that were previously let go. And that proof will then allow for that amount to be forgiven.
But you don't have to hire them back until you have the loan. That's a key detail. It's
Yes.
not when you apply, but when you receive the funds.
Yes.
That's when the clock starts ticking.
Okay, do I have to have them, I guess, just to clarify that a little bit, do I have to have them hired back the day that I get the loan, within a week of when I get the loan, or is it during the 8-week, this loan is supposed to cover an 8-week period, right?
Yeah.
Do I have to have them hired back before the end of that 8-week period? Do I have to have hired back the first week, or?
I can double check. I do not know the exact clarification on that. It is probably a little weak if I'm guessing on the guidance, but I would say that there will probably be a little deference period for you to get your paperwork corrected as we're kind of making up these regulations on the ground, because if you receive it would be hard to receive the payment and hire someone in the same day. I would say there's probably going to be a little window for you to get them back, but I'm happy to clarify that as I find out.
Excellent. Any other questions that we have today? Or any other follow-up that we, want to request from any of us?
Tina had a question about what type of loan can real estate agents apply for?
They're eligible to apply for both the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program as well as the Paycheck Protection Program. Although in their case, if I understand, the independent contractors cannot apply until Friday, tomorrow. And there may be a different application that we haven't seen yet.
So it matters how they're structured. If they're structured with, most of them will be independent contractors, and then that would lead to a separate filings, hopefully.
In our case, we just opened up here in Eastman, kind of a bar trying to become a restaurant, and we just opened up mid-December. And I have looked at some of the criteria, and it seems to me a lot of that might not apply toward us, as far because you'd had to be in business for so long. We don't have any employees. We're trying to run it all ourselves. Where does that put a business like us? I mean, it's really putting a hurting on us because we're just getting started, and now they literally shut our doors.
Yeah, there is, and if I could get your email, because I don't have my little sheet right in front of me, but there is for this certain thing, but there is a formula to, I guess, put this together for businesses that were not in service the year before. And I'd be happy to send that along. But there is a formula that SBA has put out to how to calculate those loans.
So
Okay.
Does that get like prorated then, Ethan? Is that how that works?
Yeah, there is a lot of guesstimation in that one, but it does exist, and it's helpful for cases like that.
So Rita,
Thank
can
you.
you guys put your email in the chat box so that
Yep.
we can all have that? Thanks so much. What else were
Do
you
you
saying?
want everybody to have it or just Ethan?
You can send it just to Ethan, that's fine. I'd like to have it too, actually, so I think I might have it
Okay.
somewhere, but thanks. I think I cut somebody off though. Was somebody else about to say something?
And keep in mind too, the individual rebate checks are going out too, so that should be something of a help for small business people. And I think the first wave is supposed to go out before the 15th. I think it was something like 60 million to start with, 60 million checks or individuals.
If you have direct deposit with the IRS, it will have gone out pretty soon. They're just hampered by the physical amount of checks they can print. Is going to be the delay otherwise.
Sorry for my ignorance. What is the rebate check that you're talking about?
That's the individual $1,200 check to each individual person.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So that's also a help, I think, for small business people that have in a position like these folks where they've lost, you know, 2 incomes a lot of times.
Thanks for the clarification. All right, other questions? Or are we wrapping up here?
Tina sent another question to chat too on rentals.
Yep. Okay. So how about the season rentals? So especially up here, we have lots of, you know, tourist seasonal rental stuff. So people who have seasonal rentals, can they apply like a cabin that had reservations that canceled? Where does this fall, or what relief do we have for them?
You can apply for both. I always try not to I'm going to preface this is not business advice, but I'm going to now give something that sounds like it. I would structure hypothetically, I would structure a PPP loan with an emergency loan, and you could probably offset your costs in a more kind of straightforward way where you would get your staff would be able to be retained with the PPP and be forgiven. But then on the other side, you could make maybe the tougher business decisions with the emergency loan, a longer planning period.
Thanks. Any other, I guess, well, it's not business advice, but anything from our SBDC, Christy, and then I see Jason, you're on here too now. Any other advice, I guess, for that sort of, for rentals?
I don't have anything different to add.
Okay, thanks.
Me
All
neither.
right, last call for questions.
I have a question with the grants and the loans. Do we have to go through a bank, or is that like online things?
The grants and the economic injury loan are done on the SBA website. The Paycheck, the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program is done through a lender.
I've done the SBA application online and got a confirmation number for that. And now it won't let me back in to put that number in. Where do I go with that?
When did you apply?
About 10 days ago.
Okay, so they just put a thing up on the website yesterday. If you applied before March 30th, this is the Wisconsin SBA website, that they suggest you apply again. But if you have not, there's more clarification that if you have not and you've received a confirmation number after April 1st, you are set and they are just backlogged.
Okay, so I should be able to find that out on the website. I can't remember the actual date that I did it.
If you have a confirmation number, you did it after the form changed, and
Yeah.
you're fine.
Okay. Because it doesn't let me log back in. I have my passwords and my confirmation number, and it will not let me log back in. But I haven't tried in the last couple days.
Yeah, that's a symptom of, sadly, of this program not existing until, a few days ago. So this is where we're looking at an issue where they created the application and not really much forward public facing things until after. They have assured me when I spoke with them that they will reach out. They're doing it first come, first serve, but they will email you directly if they need more information. Otherwise, if you have a confirmation number, you are to assume that it is being processed. And they said they're at about a 2 to 3 week turnaround right now, but hoping to expedite that. And if they don't, please let us know and we're happy to push.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
So I have a question, Ethan. Are these getting processed by SBA at the state level or at the federal level?
They're getting processed at the state level, and that's a problem because they have about 10 people in that office.
I see. It's so similar to unemployment.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the issue. You're getting all these wrinkles is because you've got federal money, but it's going to the states and they're administering and getting the money out. So you've got that layer of complication there. I think and it's just a huge volume. So.
And so that means just that people are going to have to wait. It's not that they're not going to get served, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob Hauber, I think you were going to say something.
I had a quick question on that $1,200 rebate. I keep hearing conflicting things on whether this is this a gift to the taxpayer or is this?
You will not owe tax on it.
Okay, so I'm not going to have to next year when I file my taxes. I'm not going to owe $1,200 more. Right?
No.
All right.
It's similar to the stimulus checks that went out in 2009.
Okay. I just kept hearing conflicting things. Some people said that you were actually, lowering the amount of your refund or raising the amount of tax that you'll owe next year.
It would be almost impossible for them to administrate it, even if they did want to tax it.
Good question. And actually, I just thought about a clarification. You addressed this the other day, but a lot of people are hearing that the Paycheck Protection Program is going to run out of money. So hurry and do that. Where do we stand on that? Does it look like it's going to run out, or?
We are currently in negotiations to add another $250 billion into it. And I think that will happen. And I think that they'll add another quarter if it's needed. I think there will be partisan fights around the periphery of the issue, but this issue in itself was the easiest thing we put together in that larger package. So I would not say that if you need it, you will get it. I can't foresee. No one wants to see these loans run out of money. It would not be good for anyone. And something would have to go terribly wrong. I'm going to knock on wood now because, we're living in a pandemic, so something did go terribly wrong. But I'm confident that they will hopefully be able to fund these so there's not a stopgap in it.
Okay. That's good to know. Thank you.
As of yesterday, the economic advisor, Mr. Kudlow, was on CNBC, and they said they have done around $50 to $60 billion worth. So there is still a little headroom.
And as Congressman Kind has said on these town halls that, it's hard to know where the end of this is. So you're dealing with an unknown. So I think that's why you're going to see, them revisiting this probably at least once or more times. So.
Good point. Okay, thank you for that clarification. Well, any other final questions? I know I keep saying this and then more pop up, so.
I have a commentary just for everybody to give you a little flavor just for our institution. As of last night, we had reserved about $24 million for different businesses that had applied through the PPP program. So just one institution in our community. So just to give you a little idea of kind of the dollars that should hopefully in the next few days be disseminated to a lot of our local businesses here.
And about how many businesses is that?
That was 124 applicants.
Okay. Well, it's starting to move then. We're moving, so that's good. Appreciate that.
Excellent news. Yeah, thanks, Dwayne, for filling us in. Any other banks wanted to just say like how many they've done at all? That's always a good thing to share.
I'm thinking that we're right at that 20 million mark, and I'm trying to think how many that would be. I would guess probably 60, maybe 70, 80, someplace in there. It's, I guess the problem now is, trying to get the paperwork. I don't know that we've dispersed any loans yet. We're still waiting to try and get the right note. We, trying to get some clarification on, I guess just different parts of the program, and trying to make sure that, our customers or us or anybody else doesn't get left hanging out there. And I guess, the real concern is, the SBA has been changing this program pretty consistently from day to day. And I'm just hoping they're, continue that. I guess, again, I realize it's a really new program and things change as time goes on. It's just really tough on our side to try and get it nailed down so we can get the money out there so the people can actually start using it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I would just like to, once again, everybody, if you do run across a question or a concern, please send those to me at the chamber office, and I will forward those on to either Tim and or Ethan, and I'll get those answers back just as soon as possible.
Thanks, Bob. It looks like somebody who was on the phone, were you trying to say something? Okay, I'm not hearing you, so just wanted to make sure we weren't talking over anybody. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Bob Moses, do you want to give us your maybe phone number real quick, just so anybody can write that down?
Yeah, I'll put it up in the notes.
Awesome. Yeah, and just thank you again. And if there's a need for other kind of info sessions like this, please let me know, let Bob Moses know, and we will put this together. This is really, really nice to be able to see everybody and hopefully be answering people's questions. So
Thank you, Bob and Jessica, for doing this. And we're here. Contact us if we can help. We'll try and answer your questions. So.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.